I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York, I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast.
So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? Who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're over us? Yeah.
The phrase, the hardest working man in show business, gets thrown around a lot. But today's guest, Medrick Greely, is maybe the embodiment of that expression. Medrick is a drummer, producer, programmer, dad, husband, and has over a dozen active music projects currently going. Med was in New York City for the birth of hip-hop. Then he went on a sort of hip-hop expedition where he would live in a city for a few years and become immersed in the scene in the city's particular hip-hop style. Most recently, the success of Branoofunk has taken a lot of Med's focus, but he still has time to drum and try more Mojo as well, and he's revamping his drummer in the DJ project. As you will hear, Medrick is a very down-to-earth guy, and we had a blast on this one. So hope you enjoy my chat with Medrick Greely. Okay, we're here with Medrick Greely. He is a drummer, percussionist, producer, programmer, maker of things, person who is like the hardest working person in music that I know. Well, first of all, let's just start out with a basic one. How many projects do you think you're in right now?
Active projects, I'm going to say 11 out of 16.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have a job.
Yes.
And you're married.
Yes.
That alone is astounding. Like that right there is a lot. Okay, I'm going to back up though.
Okay.
You're Texan?
Yeah, born in Dallas, but I was raised in New York and New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
So I give my credit of being raised in New York in my single to teens and then teens to 20s in New Orleans.
Okay. And then why did you come back to Dallas?
Good question. So I'm gonna try to sum it up as much as I can. New York. I moved to New York. My mom moved to New York, and I ended up being engulfed in the hip hop culture there. So as hip hop was happening, I literally just got a name before it was called the Get Down. It's just something that you went to. It was an event. So I was immersed in that. On top of that, I was becoming a drummer in church. I didn't want to go to church and blah blah blah, but something kept me going, and I kept looking at the it's called the music pit. And I just couldn't get my eyes off of it. And my mom's finally told me, she's like, "You just want to go over there?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I go over there, hang out with them, and they're so encouraging. They're like, "Yeah, come on back here, man. Look like you want to be here." So I ended up shadowing the drummer, literally being behind him and kind of playing like I'm playing with him.
Oh wow.
And a couple of weeks later, he was like, you want to be my timekeeper? So I ended up being his left hand. Then like the other time, he let me be his right hand. And then one day he didn't show up. It was about 5 weeks later, he just didn't show up, and I became the drummer. Mind you, I was horrible. Horrible.
How old were you in this
that was 10 going on 11. Yeah.
Okay.
So long story short, I ended up being that drummer. At the same time, I'm learning more from hip hop as far as the beat structures, because I didn't know I was learning. I'm learning samples without knowing I'm learning different genres of music. So I'm learning jazz. I'm learning rock. I'm learning, why James Brown is so important. Why George Clinton is so important. Why Coltrane is so important. But not knowing them at the same time, because I'm just learning the beats. But that's what got me to New York. Well, that's what kept me in New York for the longest. It was in a very unfortunate situation that I can't speak of, that led me to be out of New York. Nothing on my end, of course.
You're not like wanted in New York.
No, nothing like that.
Okay,
I'm actually more welcome there than anywhere. But I moved to New Orleans because most of my family is from New Orleans, from Louisiana, on my mom's side, and I ended up moving to New Orleans, and the choice was, great, I get to go to the Jazz City. So I was like, let me go. Now, mind you, you're talking to a kid that didn't go to school for music.
Right.
I just learned how to play. So I'm doing what illiterate people would do when they're trying to adapt to their atmosphere, and that go immerse yourself in the culture and you'll eventually learn. And so that's exactly what I did. So I immersed myself in the jazz culture, coming to find out there's funk, there's this and that out there. So I ended up doing all that. Kicked my ass, I can tell you that. But it was a great lesson. And then I just kind of moved around to 7 different other states in the process. So Atlanta, Philadelphia, to get the at the time Jill Scott had just came out, Music Soul Child, so I was getting the Philly sound. I moved to DC to get the go-go sound, to learn to
You're moving to these cities to
literally engulf myself in the culture, so I can, instead of just trying to play the music, I'm in the culture, because I just came out of New York where I've immersed myself in something that became something bigger. Because hip hop was, at that time, it was almost just in New York, and maybe a couple of tapes out. You might can go to Philly, you might can go to, and maybe to California to get some, but it was very far few in between. And I tell people, when I was up there when it first started, it was damn near illegal to be into hip hop, to the point where you only got hip hop between on the radio between 12 and 2 a.m.
Why was it illegal? Because of the lyrics, or?
No, there was nothing about the lyrics at the time, because, mind you, what we now call hardcore hip hop, which was just a branch off of conscious rap. It wasn't out just yet, and I'm talking like 85, 86. That you're talking about, that's the most positive, party going, nothing really hardcore too much about hip hop. The hardest thing was Public Enemy. That was the hardest thing, and that was the most positive thing as you can get to. That being said, so when I got to moving on, when I moved to go to DC, I got the go-go feel. So basically what I did was I learned from that. Everywhere I go, I can gather the same thing, instead of me trying to get in a book and learn. I mean, get in the culture and learn the culture, and then it'll just come to me.
Well, now, when you were doing this kind of tour of hip hop, as it were, how long were you staying in each one of these places?
An average of about 2 to 3 years.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah, so that's 7 different states.
Anyone, you should write a book about that experience. I'm not even kidding. Like,
it was a reach around, so to speak, because literally all of my peers that are drumming and everything like that, they can go to a book and go, oh, okay, I can play that, And so I'm watching all the elites, all my friends, and I'm like, dang, I wish I could do that, but I can't. I can't afford it. I can't do it. I don't have the time for it. Whatever the case may be. And I was like, I'm gonna just do a cheat code, and I'm gonna just go to DC, learn the culture, get involved, and just learn it. And then the moment I think I got it, I'll just move around again.
I feel like the people with the books is the cheat code. That is like, you're like living the life. I mean, that is, I had no idea. It explains a lot about everything else about you, but that is fascinating. Like,
but to lead back to how I got to Dallas, the whole time I've done the 7 different states, and I'm like, I've never lived in my own birthplace more than 6 months. Let me see what's out here. And I say this all the time. The moment I get here, everything I've been searching for is all right here. All the jazz, all the go-go, the neo soul, everything was all rooted right here. And I was like, ain't this something? So I ended up loving my city, not knowing that much about it, and I just stayed.
It was like in your blood from the beginning, and you didn't know. So okay, so that makes me wonder. So is there a sound that's like unique and like originated in Dallas in this?
Very good question. There is a lot of sounds that come from Dallas that have been exported. So a lot of the West Coast sound of hip hop belongs to Dallas. A lot of the southern sounds that come from moved over to Atlanta, Mississippi, and Alabama come from Dallas. And I say that respectfully to all the different places, because they made their own way after. Right. But a lot of people, like somebody like DOC, which is a founding person of Dallas, is more known in LA than he is known in Dallas
Right.
for a while. A lot of people didn't even know he was from Dallas. A lot of people just associated him with NWA, and that was it. Well, he's from, I think, Oak Cliff, or from South Oak Cliff, if I'm not mistaken. And he lives here and everything like that. And so all the NWA stuff that we've been inspired by was co-written, or if not damn near written, by him, Ice Cube, and MC Ren. So the Chronic album wouldn't have been without him, because that was damn near his second album. It was just one of those things that he was just like, I work for the team. He's a team player, and he's like, no, the team needs to win. So that's what the West Coast sound kind of comes from us. So some of the producers moved to LA because the work was out there.
Right.
So Dallas people out there, a lot of people know Terrace Martin. Terrace he's a byproduct between LA and Dallas. So he calls both home. And he's working with Robert Glasper, Kendrick Lamar, you name it, he's worked with them.
Yeah.
But so that especially the West Coast sound, the first hip hop band on the West Coast with Snoop was all Dallas musicians. So
Really?
I think it was called the Snoopadelics.
Oh, well, I know that Sput was involved in that.
Right. So of course how he does. He pulls his people in.
Right.
So whether it's LA, hybrids, or Dallas, you're gonna be in the band somehow. And that's one of the things I do love about Spud, my mentor.
Yeah.
He loves pulling people in. Even if he does it for a moment and then he goes that way, he is leaving a trail so you can finish it.
Yeah.
And I like that about him.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, he's sort of like has his fingerprints in a positive way on everything. Dallas, like in that.
And
sense.
it's so amazing to see. If I go to Singapore right now and just say his name out loud, somebody's going to turn around and like, yeah, that's my favorite guy, and blah, blah. Yeah, I know him. They'll say that. Like, I know, man, that dude is so personal. He remembers my name.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that sets him apart from a lot of people. Like, he cares.
Yeah.
About, your whereabouts. He'll call you. Mind you, he has his Rolodex is, I'm old. I said Rolodex. His phone list of calling any drummer in the world is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he took the time to call me. So that says a lot about him.
Yeah.
But
Sputsy, right? We just want to say
Robert Sputsy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost Note, and he
Snarky
was
Puppy.
Yeah. Yeah.
RSVP.
We did an interview on the Lone Sound podcast here with him, and he had to do another interview before we started, and we watched one before he got there, and like they all started the same way. They're like, okay, so you're one of the best drummers in the world. And like then he'll just be like, what's the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that. And it's true kind of.
Yeah, it is. No, he's a big influencer to the point where there's things that us Dallas drummers do because of him.
How did you meet him?
Believe it or not, I met him in New Orleans the first time.
Okay.
I met him in New Orleans. We were passing by. He saw me playing at a venue the first time, so it was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, oh my God, I think I knew who that was while I'm playing. The second time it was at a church convention. He ended up playing for, I can't remember what the artist was, and I couldn't get my hands on him. And I know it was over there, but everybody was in that corner, and I couldn't get my hands on him.
Uh-huh.
But he found the way to kind of find me and say, hey man, I remember you over there, man, you did a great job, blah, 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 get that swinging down, you'll be all right, so he's giving me tips and everything. And then I moved here. When I finally moved here, he just kind of looked at me like, what do I know you from? I know you from somewhere. I know your name and everything. He said, and you've already ingrained yourself in Dallas music, but I should know you. And he just kind of gave me that I should know you kind of factor.
Right.
And then from that point on, like when he found out we wasn't that too far of proximity and age, we liked the same things. He just took me on as like one of the people in Dallas. He was like, well, you're doing a lot of stuff, so I see you.
Yeah.
Don't think because I'm out there, I don't see what's going on in my city. I see what's going on.
Yeah, he is like, that's one of the greatest things about him. He's a real champion of the music here in Dallas. And drummers and
he does his best to, even on his off days, when dude gets off tour, absolutely off tour, he wants to come to Dallas, jam with everybody he had been thinking about. Like, hey, where you at? I'm coming. Hey, what you want to do? I'm coming. So, and he'll make events. He is the first person I've seen online. This is a little earlier, like 2016, 2017, where he went on Twitter. He said, I'm thinking about having a party. Who wants to do it in Dallas? And then everybody in like elites saw it. He said, okay, I got the cast. Now what's the theme? So then everybody gave him a theme. So he didn't even have to think about what he wanted to do. He let everybody else do it. It's like, okay, what time do y'all think it should be? What day do y'all think it should be?
Right.
And in a matter of 15 minutes, he had a full show. I was like,
Yeah.
who else can do that?
Not many people. Was that the one at Artco or?
No, it was at it was at RBC.
RBC, yeah. Okay.
And he put that cast together, I swear, in 15 minutes.
It
was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember maybe the first time he did one of his, maybe his holiday or birthday party at Artco, and it was just like,
oh, the Spectaculars.
Yeah,
the
people-
Spectaculars. I'm sorry.
Spectacular,
Yeah.
exactly. And like there was just like a line of drummers,
Uh-huh.
and it was literally. I mean, well, I remember J.D. Beck was probably 13 or 12,
Yeah.
or something. And the first time I saw Black Dynamite,
Ooh,
yeah,
ooh, that damn Mike Mitchell.
yeah, but it was just so cool. It was just like this line, and it was just like normally, I don't know, like I'd be like, and like every one of them was mesmerizing.
Yeah,
you know? And
yeah.
that was all because of Spud. Anyway,
they're all like kind of sprung off of between Spud, Cedric Moore, and JT Thompson,
Okay.
Jason Thompson. They're all of those guys that you're talking about are offsprings of those.
we need to do like a Dallas drummer
Man,
family tree.
and the person to get one of the persons you need to get to that is like either Robert Spudsy, right, JT, or Cleon.
Yeah.
They know the history like
Yeah.
no other.
Yeah. Well, so do you. Let's make this back to you,
Okay.
shall we? Giving a lot of love to other people that aren't here. I mean, I got the church thing. Like, was there, like, you were drawn to the pit, but I mean, like, drums specifically. Why drums specifically?
Well, as a kid, it's the thing you see moving the most.
Mm.
And so you're trying to figure out how is he doing all that with 4 limbs. Now, mind you, when you get older, you get the piano like he's doing that with 10 fingers and 2
Right.
legs. That's what should be mesmerizing.
Yeah, or
on
pedal
the piano.
steel is crazy. What
Yeah.
they're doing. It's like how many? I can't even. Yeah.
But as a kid, you see the main thing that's moving. The one thing that's attracting you the most is the drums. Mind you, most musicians, 90% of musicians, always start on drums, and they end up going somewhere else.
Right.
So
It's funny. I was the opposite. I dreamed a little bit, mostly other stuff like singer songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if I were even to play, I would just want to play drums because I don't have to know the notes or the
Yeah.
song. I've good enough instincts. I don't know, it's been a minute since I picked up
yeah,
sticks.
it's now it's once you get older in drums, now it's a feel. You have to understand where the drummer was coming from when the person that recorded it. So now you got to catch that feeling
Oh yeah.
of what was going on, that atmosphere. So when I'm covering a tune, I do my best to do as much research from the drummer's perspective, listening to the track, listening to other versions of the track, and now I got the feeling. One of the things I was taught, once again by Spud, was close your eyes and just go to sleep. I'm like, what's that? He was like, just go to sleep to it, because I'm trying to get this one thing down. He was just go to sleep. So whatever, man. So one day I just got frustrated. I could not get it in, so I just went to sleep to it. And 2 weeks later, without even thinking, I was like, I wonder if I can do it. And it's all of a sudden it came to me. And now that's one of my main practice modes. Whenever I'm crunched and I got 24 songs to learn in 24 hours, I literally just go to sleep to it. And now it's internal. It's in the back of my head. And I don't even know that I can know that I play it. I'm like, I got it.
Well, right. I mean, that's combined with your years of physical.
Well, yeah,
training.
that too.
Yeah. You know, it's funny about that because I was like a songwriter for a lot of my music experience. And so it's just interesting how like my whole goal was to not listen to anybody and not get any influence from anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And your whole thing is like, I'm trying to learn everything I can about every influence out there.
Yeah. And obviously that's once again taking in the culture, and then New Orleans, to its credit, I didn't know what gumbo was until I got there. So watching people make gumbo is kind of metaphoric for life. So it's like you put everything in a pot and you make something great, and everybody's gumbo is different. You know, so you can make different types of gumbo, but it's still it's a melting pot of everything that you had in the house. That's kind of where it came from. Everything that you had in the house, you just put it in one spot, and then you make dinner for everybody. So I was like, I wonder if I can do that as a musician, if I can just pull everything into me, and then when I play, I'm pouring out to a lot of people, and that's exactly what's happening.
Right. Okay, so I'm sure you played in all over all these locations, lots of places. What was the first band that like this is either your band that you didn't start, but it's your band, or that you started? Like, what's the first project?
The first band that I started would have been in Atlanta is when I finally had the audacity, the gall to create, like, get my friends together and say, hey, this is what I want to do. So I'm used to being the server. Like, okay, what do you want? What do you want? You want? I got it. So this time I decided to do it. Me not knowing chord structure, me not knowing anything about music per se, I just know I know what a certain feeling I'm going for. And when I did it, everybody was like, dude, this is a band. I was like, it is? It is? They're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, man, you should come up with a name for it. So I came up with a name for it. I can't remember it to this day. It was clever as heck, though. Anonymous. ANONYMUS.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. And it ended up being my second Hotmail account. That's how long ago it was. But the name of the band was Anonymous. I even had my first car plate was A9OMUS.
Okay.
And man, I loved hanging around them in Atlanta. Everybody was from different places. Atlanta is a melting pot of different places as well, sort of like Dallas is becoming. But it was a lot of East Coast people, so I can relate to. Most of the places I was moving to was all East Coast places. And it just happened. And then I would say the first major band that I got acquainted with was right before that, in New Orleans. And I'll leave them out of the podcast, but I'll just say they became a very, very big band, alternative rock band. But I was in that band, and the way I won getting into the band was playing. I played a Metallica song, and it involved me using double pedals, and I didn't use double pedals. I used it on a single pedal, and that's what won me the gig. Because all the drummers was like, oh,
can't even do it.
Like they're wondering how I got that, and that's a story within itself. I played Susudia on accident. I'm thinking in my headphones, them old school headphones, where you can't really tell what's the bass and what's synth. So I didn't know that was a synth being played. I'm thinking that's the kick. So for years I'd been practicing that, and when I finally got it, I found out it was a synth. He's just playing 1, 2, 1, 2 the whole time. I'm like, Phil Collins, boy, if I see you, ooh.
Well, he's in a wheelchair. I think you probably wouldn't be much of a fight, right?
No, but it helped a lot because that gave me foot control. It helped my foot be faster.
Yeah.
So a lot of people knew me back then for having a fast foot. And that's how I got in that band. So they went from extremely hard rock, and their management was like, hey, we should do this alternative type of rock. It's the biggest thing going right now. So they became an alternative rock, and in the time of altering things, they altered me out the band.
But you won't tell us the name?
Nah, I can't. I can't. I told myself after they sent me that last email that I'm not giving y'all no more credit.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll ask you when I turn the recording off. All right. Well, so then what's the first band that you formed that's still in action?
Oh, I wouldn't say band. That's the band
or
per
project,
se.
Yeah,
a project definitely. Would be the DJ and the drummer collective. Something I decided to do almost 17, 18 years ago now, where I had a DJ and a drummer. It was just me and my DJ friend, and we were just kind of sitting around, and it was like, bro, why don't we just kind of, you play on top of it? I said, yeah, I've always wanted to do that. So we did it, and then we did it at a 5-star hotel, and then we got hired to go overseas the next show.
Wow.
And we was like, oh, okay, this can be something.
Something's here, yeah.
So we did it for 7 years over there, and I was like, dude, we should make this a business. He was like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't, because I got so much stuff on my tax bracket and stuff like that. So you do it, and I'll just put my face on it. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So I made it a business, DBA'd it in Dallas, and we started doing corporate events. One of the first corporate event I got was Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't know it was I didn't know the company was made in Irving. So
really?
So all the I'm thinking it's gonna be kids.
Oh, it's like at the corporate.
Their corporate offices here, and I'm like, oh snap! So they brought everybody in and then they got mesmerized by it. So then they started sending it out to a whole bunch of things. There was a company from Florida called, they stayed for about 4 or 5 years here and then zipped out. Pollo Tropical, which is like their McDonald's. And I don't know what happened, why they had to leave, but now we have the other Pollo company. But it was Pollo Tropical that was here, and every place they opened, I swear they opened one every 3 months, and they paid my company to do it. So it just, and then I was like, well, at that time it was just me and my DJ, and I was like, man, I'm getting a lot of work, and I need to be in more places at once, especially being in other bands. So I was like, well, why don't I get my friends to be some of the drummers so they can take over? And I was like, well, my DJ is getting busy. He's getting corporate by himself. So it's like, well, now I need other DJs. So it became 4 DJs, 5 drummers, and I let it happen. I was like, So I took my face off of the logo, took his face off the logo, and just made a logo strictly for the company. And up until the end of the beginning of 2020, of course, we already know what happened with that.
Yeah.
Up until then, it was flourishing.
Wow.
I'm gonna make a comeback next year. I'm in the process of revamping it, rebooting it, and I always rotate DJs and drummers because I want it to be something that, you know, I want. If it was a 50-year-old party, I don't want 14-year-olds to represent it. I want 50-year-olds or somebody close to that to represent that, so they feel more comfortable. That's and smart. They know the music and everything like that.
Sure.
Comes to a prom, I want the 18-year-olds to do that. So I have variations of ages, styles. So somebody that wants just cumbia, so I got a cumbia DJ and a cumbia drummer that can play that style, that know the music with no question. So it's authentic when it goes into that direction. That's
cool.
So that's the one thing I'm still extremely proud of.
Yeah.
Because at the time I didn't know I was the only one at that time to make it a business. It wasn't a business anywhere.
No, it's like a great business too, because
it's right in between having a live band and not just a DJ. So you get the live feel with just the DJ, and you're paying significantly less money than, you know.
Yeah, and there's no lead singer.
There's no lead singer. I was about to say mess it up.
That's the joke I'm making. I used to be a lead singer.
But yeah, it works out well. A lot of people that hire get to poke their chest out like, yeah, that was unique. I did that.
Yeah.
You know. So
it is. And now, is that kind of what gave you the idea for Branoofunk?
Yes, as a matter of fact, good segue. It led up to me. I'm still scouting at that time for DJs, and this is about three years ago now. I'm scouting for other DJs. I wanted a DJ to do strictly like classic hip hop music, and there was maybe 3 people I was looking at the time, and I was like, man, that person's too busy. This person's not busy enough. and then I found him, and I saw him at 3 Links or something. Oh no, I saw him opening for somebody, and I was like, wait a minute, is he going from the old school song to the actual song? Oh, I can work with that. So I hit him up on Instagram, and I was like, hey man, I'm a big fan of, you know, what you do. I'm a hip hop connoisseur. It's in my blood, blah, 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 this and that. And he was like, well, come on down and come check me out. No, I thought he was saying come check me out. And everybody knows me. Somehow I have some version of a drum set with me at all times, whether it's a big drum set or a little trap keep. And I get there, and I get out trying to support him. He's like, hey man, where's the drums? And I was like, in the car. Why? He was like, I want you to drum. I'm like, oh. So I get out, and this is at Brain Dead when it was open. So I get up and I start playing, and as I'm playing, he realizes I actually know the song. So he goes into another song, and I actually know that one. Then he starts going deeper into the hip hop mode, like, I bet you, he kind of got, I bet you don't know this.
Yeah.
And I'm playing, not only am I playing the songs, I'm pulling out what the song pulls out. I know where the chorus is. I play along to the words sometimes instead of the beat. And he's just sitting there like, bro, who are you?
Right.
So, needless to say, that was the fastest friend I've ever made.
Yeah. Menace the DJ.
DJ Menace.
DJ Menace. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you're right, because he had to switch it around because there's so many. I didn't realize there's so many DJ Menaces
so
in
now
the world.
He's DJ Menace.
Menace the DJ.
Now he's
is
Menace the
him.
DJ. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what when I shot him. That's what.
Yeah. But obviously he recognizes DJ Menace. But man, ever since then, it's been up. We don't practice. We tried practicing once and realized we sat there for 4 hours and talked just about the songs we wanted to do, and then that was it.
Yeah.
So now we don't even talk about the songs; just play the songs.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like, you had me come out to shoot one of your first big ones, and you know, I shoot a lot of stuff, and I'm not a DJ guy per se. I was like the best time, and every time people go to that, I see photos of people like are just going crazy. It is like the most popular thing, and I get it because I saw it. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have thought that. And you know, the other thing that strikes me, because I've been thinking a lot about how different artistic communities don't cross paths, and it's like fascinating that this DJ just has never heard of you as a drummer. But,
right.
But I guess it makes sense. But it just, you know, it's like peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah,
you know,
so. You didn't know it go together, but whoa, you know, it's just
no, it really does. I mean, anybody that has like a night to go check out Branoofunk, that is a good time.
It's been dubbed officially, unofficially, I'll say that, unofficially the best hip hop experience in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak because I'm not an authority on hip hop, but I will say that I enjoyed it thoroughly. So
yeah, we have people coming in from Germany, Maine, like on a regular basis. There's two guys that come and they do this thing on Instagram. I wish I knew their name right now, but they every other weekend they like kind of roll a dice and then just go. So what their roll of dice is, they flip through Instagram and find something cool and stop and go, let's go do that.
Oh, wow.
So they happened to find us. We were one of their roll of the dice. They happened to find us. Let's go experience that. So they come down, and they're here, and I'm happy to hear when I finally talk to them. I'm like, man, you guys are from Maine? They're like, yeah. I was like, well, let me show you around the city, because you know this is what I usually do when somebody's that big of a guest. And they were like, no, we got to go. I'm like, what you mean you got to go? Like, oh, we got here an hour before y'all started playing off the plane. We got 2 hours to get back to the airport.
Oh, wow.
What? Then the other crew that comes from Germany every other month, they don't speak a lick of English, but they know every single hip hop song words.
Oh, wow.
Every single one of them. They literally talk to me through Google Translate.
Oh, wow.
So they'll say something, they'll be, hey, I had a good time, and then they'll point the phone to me, and then I have to say something into it. And oh yeah. So it's always fun with them. But we have a huge like core fan base. We call them Brand New Fam.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable. No matter where we go, we've gone to Salina, and them same 70 people show up in Salina.
Wow.
And you're like, okay, I think we got something.
Yeah, you really got something there, right? It I don't know what it is, but it is there.
I can officially say what it is. Because I grew up in the culture of hip hop, I haven't had this type of goosebumps since the Get Down days. And I told Minister, I'm like, bro, I have not felt like this since hip hop was like being created. Wow. So to get the experience, everybody's re-experiencing their old school favorite songs. This was their high school song. They remember this song when they, you know, went and tried to do graffiti and got caught. Or, you know, whatever. You know, they were.
Well, and I've got a limited knowledge of hip hop, and I was like, I know every song
yeah.
Playing. And it's, I mean, then the drums, and just gives another element. And the day I went, you had a trombone player, and I know you probably had people sit in at times.
Yeah, he a real good friend of mine. He just happened to be there, and that was just so funny. He was like, hey, can I play with y'all? Because he's a big hip hop head too.
Oh, okay.
And we were like, hell, why not? So he ended up being there and just playing like the best. But usually now it's just me and him, or we'll have a guest DJ come in that literally just does scratches. Like DJ Toombs is one of the world renowned DJs that's from Dallas.
So he's sort of playing the records as an instrument, not like setting the music.
Right. So Menace sets the music. He scratches words and stuff like that while I'm playing on top. Oh man, it's now that
I gotta come back. That sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, that is an experience, because we're all three of us are wowing each other at the same time.
Yeah, and everyone in the crowd.
And they're just getting the fact that we're up there.
I've never seen that kind of reaction from not a live, like all instrument band ever.
Right.
Like with music. I mean, granted, you're playing drums, so that really gives it that live feel.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So we got people that literally like they'll be walking by and they hear the drums and it sounds like it's part of the track.
Right.
So when they come through, Wow, that's
Yeah.
an actual drummer playing the song.
It's just
And some of the beats are very, very complex, so they're trying to figure out how am I playing this.
yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I've been like highly trained.
Yeah, I've been
Whatever.
training for
Don't
this.
you worry about that. You just enjoy your drink and dance.
So yeah, some of these beats, that there's drummers that some drummers haven't figured out how to play them
Huh.
properly. And like, say for instance, the Beastie Boys, where the track is backwards, zoo 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 zoo. So I play where it sounds like the cymbal is playing backwards, and everybody's sitting there like, how in the hell is he
Do
doing
you have
that?
like drummers coming up to you at shows
all the time. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
tell every drummer in the crowd immediately,
Yeah,
without them saying a damn thing.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious, man. I want to get through some other stuff too. I mean, like, of course, one of my favorite bands, Try More Mojo.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with them?
That's a funny story. So somebody told me that there's a venue further down the Deep Ellum track, and I was like, oh, is it brand new? And they're like, yeah. They do this open mic thing. I think at the time y'all open mic was Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's just to switch around. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the time it was Tuesdays. So I was like, yeah, I'm off on Tuesday. I usually go watch Funky Knuckles or something like that. No, it was a Monday. That's how I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Monday.
so Monday. Funky Knuckles used to be on a Monday at Three Links. That's how I know. And I was like, I can miss at least one Funky Knuckles show.
Right.
Big fan of Funky Knuckles, by the way.
Yeah.
And I go down there and I'm like, oh, this venue looks like a warehouse on the outside. It had no murals on the outside yet. No murals.
Oh, it was brand new.
Yeah, it was literally like that new, where there wasn't like a major, I shouldn't say the mural that's there wasn't there yet.
Right.
So I get inside, and the moment I get inside, it's almost like when you walk through Walmart. Walmart for the first time with that rush of air. I felt that feeling like when I got in, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is great. I didn't get 5 steps in. I'm like, I like this place.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to all the artwork. I'm listening to the people on stage. They got the bar. Everybody's friendly. I walk the door. I mean, everybody's high-fiving me. And I'm like, oh, I like this. And not even 10 steps in, I get a tap on the shoulder like, hey, you hear the drum? No, but I just wanted to check out the venue. Like, I literally didn't get to go outside to go check the place out. He's like, no, go up there and drum. Leland happened to be on keys. The irony was the owner, John, was on bass. And we had some other people up there. Evan was running sound.
Okay.
And so I get up there and I start playing, and Leland was like, hey, I want to beat like this. So he gives me like 4 bars, or like a bar, and I go in, and he's like, exactly. Okay, all right. Well, we got the groove set. He said, all right. So then he starts playing, and we start playing around. I end up on the stage for an hour. I was supposed to be a rotational thing, and everybody's rotating, and I'm trying to get up. They're like, no, you stay there. I'm like, but there's other drummers. No, you stay there. Leland was like, no, you stay right there. So in every style of music that was playing, I was able to adapt to it. He was like, have you ever heard jam band music before? I said, nah. He said, it's weird. You're such a jam band person without knowing you're a jam band person. It's like, all right. So he sat me down that day and gave me the term and what it is and where it came from. So he gave me the whole history.
Right.
And he was like, I would love for you to come by my house and jam with my band, Try More Mojo. We're looking for another drummer. I was like, well, at the time, I'm like, well, I'm in like 10 bands already, bro. It's kind of tough. At the time, the band that was number 1 on me was a band called Dirty Grooves. And that was the infusion of a keyboardist that happens to be a trumpet player also. So he's playing keys and playing trumpet at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And a DJ that happens to be a percussionist as well. So he's DJing and doing percussion while I'm playing drums, and it's all like acid jazz. It's like what most people would consider elevator music. We get hired for a lot. So it was like an offspring of my DJ drummer thing, and they loved the fact that I knew all the songs and all the remixes. He's like, how do you know these house remixes like this? These jazz house remixes? I don't know. But he was like, well, what if we wanted to, possibly like form a band with you? I said, well, let's just discuss that when we get to the house. So I get over there, and he literally, all right, so the first song I learned was is it Dr. Oda? Mr. Oda. One of it's one of their dogs was the name of the song.
Okay.
So I'm learning. I'm like, oh, that's a nice groove. So you think you got it? I'm like, yeah, I got it. Dr. Oda is the name of the song. Yeah, Dr. Oda. So I'm playing it and they're like looking at it like I've never heard the recording of it or anything like that. I'm like, okay, well, let's just play. What's the name of the song?
Monterey.
Thank you. I couldn't get it out. We were playing Monterey. They started playing it, and like, he didn't even get to tell me what the groove was. He just started playing that part. I was like, oh, I got it. And he was like, oh, do me a favor. He said, I feel it. I feel what you're getting ready to do, but do me a favor. And this is, I had never heard the term before. He was like, give me white boy reggae. And I was like, white boy reggae. It's like white boy reggae. How do you do that? He was like, it's there, but it's not. So it's stay funky, but pull it back just a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Well, that's all you had to say was a push or pull. That's how drummers talk. It's either pushing a song or pulling a song. It's like, all right, cool. I'll pull it back. And when I did that in his face, his face was like, he was all into it.
See that
and he was like, that's it. He said, all right, now there's a couple of parts to this song. It's like 4 parts to this song. You're going to hate me for it. And so as soon as he started wanting to tell me what he was, I got the other parts. And he's like, you ready to play the song straight through? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all 4 parts. I'm like, yeah. He said, the song's like 8 to 10 minutes. I'm like, it don't matter. I'm good. So we played it one time straight through, and literally the band at the time was like, how can we get you to be our drummer, man? I was like, ah. So then John calls, Michael Curvin calls me, and he says, hey, man, I know you've been, because at the time I had been trying to pitch him the DJ and the drummer thing, be the manager for the DJ and the drummer. He just would not. He would not. And he was like, because he was in the jam band. I didn't get it. He was in the jam band stuff. He was like, say, bro, you've tapped into something. That is one of the bands I've been trying to flourish. Bro, you make them sound national. Evan agreed to be in the band because of you.
Right.
And I was like, really? I was like, I thought he was just part of the band. He's like, no, man. They told him that you was coming over to the house, and he went with you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that band, we've toured a lot. We've done everything from going from Colorado to South Carolina in 4 days, and just making it happen. That we learned a lot about each other that day. But yeah, Try More Mojo is the jam band, the only jam band I play with, because I've learned from them. I was the person sitting back learning from all of them.
Right.
The great thing about all of them, they're the 2 that's into jam band, which is Cody, the bass player, and Leland, were teaching me. The youngest 2 people in the van were teaching me about music. You need to listen to Humphreys. You need to listen to this. You need to listen to that. You need to listen to some Grateful Dead. You need everything. Just telling me all about it. There's a reason why this song is 17 minutes long. Listen to the whole damn song. So did you hear that? Now listen to this version. So there's so many different versions of songs that this is the first time I had been in a genre where it's okay to do absolutely completely opposite of what the track was, as long as you come back to the hook that people knows. Yeah. So I was like, so it's a story. And they're like, yeah, it's a story. It's a different story every time, but it comes back to the same theme. Yeah. I'm like, oh, all right. I get to play around with this. This is kind of like jazz, but a little bit less organized, believe it or not, than jazz. So
I believe it, but yeah.
So I dug it real. And so my job was to keep the band as funky as possible and bring my hip hop influence to the band. So, and it comes out all the time, even if I don't want it to.
Yeah. I still have tears in my eyes from the white boy reggae comment. We're getting kind of near the end. What else do you have going on actively right now?
There's a group I'm in, R&B soul band I'm in called Modern Vibes. It's kind of I can't even call it a cover band because we do original recordings for other people. So whenever they want a live recording of a band, we're their band. So we have a studio. We do corporate events. If somebody needs sound, we got that. Somebody wants to cut a video, we got that. So it's so all around. We're trying our best to build an all around situation to where they won't have to hire a DJ, a host, and everything. You can literally just come to us and it's all there.
Right.
So we have our own in-house host. We have our own in-house. We're getting our own in-house DJs. Well, all the members are producers in some sort. So we all produce and bring stuff to the table. We've just started making some type of elevator music that we're about to present to a company just to kind of be elevator music. But it's like the best elevator music you ever heard. So just stuff we wanted to, I wanted to call it, and I know we'll talk about it, but I wanted to call it the best music you ever heard on hold.
Oh yeah,
so
that's catchy.
And that would be the name of the album or the name of the series. We'll make a series called "The Best Music You've Ever Heard on Hold." And that's the last 4 or 5 songs that we did sounds exactly like that. Like when you mad that the person comes in like, okay, such as no, put me back on hold, please.
That's funny.
So
you should like market that to the DMV.
Oh yeah, it's coming. So
yeah.
Modern Vibes. I have another band that I'm in that I'm reactivating called With the Twist.
Yes.
It's more of a it's me, KJ, and it used to be Felix. So I'll be reactivating that. What else is happening?
When you said you got into producing.
Yes. I am by default now a producer, and it was obviously COVID made it happen because it was the first time in my life a pandemic, because I had to count them. COVID will be officially my 4th pandemic. We just didn't call it pandemics. So you got AIDS. Well, the opposite, getting off of war. So I was born into the war time where everybody was coming off war. Then you had the heroin stage.
Yeah.
Then you had crack era. And you had 9/11. So all these things, situations had music to take care of it. There's songs about AIDS. There's songs about crack. There's songs about, stuff like that. This was the first time nobody made a song. Even I think now there's really not just a one collective song that everybody agrees on. This is the COVID song. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People talk about it, but even on like the first year after everybody was okay, it was still on a hush. Hey,
yeah,
we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
So
I get
nobody wants to hear about it anymore. So, during COVID, I'm on the phone with Spud and all my friends, and Spud mainly was the main culprit of the reason why I'm a producer, because we were just talking 2 hours later. He was like, all right, man, well, I got to get going. I'm getting ready to pull some stuff off the shelf that I didn't really get to. So, yeah, man, send me a track or something. I'll put some drums on top of it. And I was like, you know how honorable that is? I'm like, I don't know what to say. He's like, well, just send me something. I'm like, I don't have anything to send you. He's like, oh, we'll just work on something to send it to me. I was like, well, I don't think you understand. I don't know how to make music like that. He was like, oh, okay, let's do the opposite. You send me a drum groove and I'll put some stuff on top of it. I don't have drums in the house. He's like, you don't have anybody that you can borrow some electric drums from? No, not right now. Everybody's separated. Nobody want to see and talk and touch each other. He was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. The next time I call you, I'm going to need you to have something, order something, an MPC or something to get yourself, because as you can see, there's no drumming right now. You're unemployed for no reason. Find a way to alter yourself. Be a drummer still on the MPC, but find a way to alter yourself. So I ordered an MPC. And
MPC is a sampler?
Yes, it is one of the best samplers. I had a tough time choosing between a company called Machine and MPC by Akai, and they were like, "Yeah, man." So all the producers that I know were like, "You need to go with MPC, bro." So I know the Machine is great, I promise you, but that MPC, it's more you, especially a hip hop head. You need to go with the MPC. So I went and got one, and the learning curve is harsh. Oh man, it took me 4 months to get anything proper.
I feel like I remember watching your journey on Facebook.
Oh my God, yeah, it was the horrible, like asking so many questions. I think I'm annoying people, and they're just proud that I'm starting.
Yeah,
and I'm like, my first beat was all right, and everybody was like, yeah, that's good, man, keep going, that's nice. The second one I made, and this is coming from Job Born, which is a producer, known producer.
Yeah.
I sent it to him, and he was like, "This is your second beat?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "No way." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Bro, you was born to do this, bro. Immerse yourself in this as much as possible." So
Yeah.
he would give me tips on how to do shortcuts and stuff like that. Then other producer friends, very elite producer friends in the city, gave me little tips. And Mousequake, especially one of them, said,
Yeah.
"So you only have one set of drums in your program?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "How are you making the different sounds?" And I told him I learned how to pitch everything. And he was like, "Oh, you working way too hard.
Yeah.
Let me send you some drums." He gave me like 2 terabytes of just drums.
Sounds. You must have like your head must have exploded that day.
I went nuts. I
Yeah.
didn't talk to nobody that day. I went nuts.
Your wife comes home. You're like,
Go
to the other
just
room,
go in the
honey.
room. She understood because my headphones is on and I am not. I mean, I didn't sleep
yeah,
for 2 days,
yeah,
and so over time the drums I got used to good at programming. Then I was like, okay, I'm a big hip hop head. Let me start with hip hop first. So I started, and that's where I kind of reside. But then, producers like Jay Rhodes, a great producer in the city, told me, now make a song about this situation. Make a song about this situation. A girl running and being scared. So make a song like that. So I would do so. Another producer was like, well, make a song for like if ESPN was looking for another theme song. Okay. So I made that, and all of them were approved by everybody. Like, man, this is great. You're getting there. What I didn't know was they was helping me become various. Without leaving my hip hop element, I got to be various
you're
at the same
diversifying
time.
your sound.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
like, now I have stuff that's coming out that's going to be in like movies, because
Nice.
somebody asked me for a love scene song. So I was like, we don't want it like sappy. We want it like just before you get into the love. So them describing that, I literally made the just before we get into the scene.
Cool. Let me ask you. So, like, I mean, some drummers, it feels like there's this one thing missing in the music, and that's the voice, the melody, the dictating, the way that the melodic stuff goes. I mean, is this just like feel like you're all open now? I mean,
Wide open. I feel more involved in when I talk to other musicians that are knowledgeable.
yeah,
Because I'm now understanding production. I'm understanding how the patience that it takes to even get a certain feeling in a song. Just the feeling, not to play the song, just the feeling of a song. Because there's a certain Motown sound, but and I can play the Motown sound, but can you make me feel like we're in the 70s? That's the tough part.
yeah, yeah.
If you can play a Tower of Power, What Is Hip, and make it feel like back in the days, then now you're playing What Is Hip. Otherwise, you're just playing the song. You know, so there's playing the song and there's feeling the song. And I pride myself on making myself feel the song, even on the MPC side. There's a lot of people think I'm playing the drums on the MPC, but I've manipulated drums and certain sounds to make it feel like I was playing. That's all I did.
Yeah.
So,
man, I gotta say, it's like you could literally, I forget, you could like go and write like a master's paper on this journey you've taken to be this like all like seasoned drummer. I mean, it's amazing what you've done to get to this point, and it shows in the music and in your work ethic, and I really appreciate you coming down today.
yeah, there's no problem. It's a no-brainer with you, man. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks again. We'll be like linking all the projects, and we looking forward to all the stuff coming up.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank my guest, Medrick Greely. You can check out Branoofunk, try more Mojo, and all his projects in the links. Theme song Unstoppable by Celine Nirala. You can listen to the Dallas Famous podcast every week on Deep LM Radio, Sundays and Tuesdays at 1 p.m., and then again on all the podcast places. Thanks again for tuning in.